Here we are. Notable mention. You need to know these phasers, this one right here, is pulled all the way to the left, okay? So is this one. So is this one. And so is this one. Basically, you need to have this in the middle, this in the middle, this in the middle, and this just about in the middle as well, okay? That is the position when you install the exhaust camshaft. The intake cam doesn't switch lobes. You see this right here and this right here. These are where these pieces stick out and they grab this right here, or they go in this groove right here. It basically ramps it and pushes it either left or right, therefore switching the lobe profile, keeping your valves open for a longer time and or closed for a shorter time. So that is advancing or retarding the motor. Now, I don't know anything really about these. Okay, these are your spool valves. Well, your spool valve, I believe, goes inside of here. And I honestly have no idea. I would have to read up on that, but honestly, right now, I don't know how that works. Also, Deutsch Auto Parts does mention this, but I'm going to mention as well just how he said it. Just how Paul said it. This mark right here, I've only marked it so I can see it better, but there's a little notch in each cam. The exhaust cam is at 11 o'clock and the intake cam is at 1 o'clock. Roughly. And he says it best, just lay it down and roughly in here at about that time. If you know how to tell time, you can roughly put it at about that degree, at that angle, and your lobe should sit in there nice and snug. But not too snug. You can see my anaerobic sealant is on there. You can see my assembly lube is on there. I got it all over my cams. I also got it on my head, under my cams. The only real thing to do left is to put that valve cover on and sandwich those cams in, but I have to tighten these bolts. I can't forget that. Well, I guess I could. I shouldn't forget that. Really know where to grab. Okay. There's a good spot in the PCV. So I've only really got one good shot at this. Okay, what's it sitting on? Nothing. All right, cool. Awesome. Awesome sauce right there, buddy. That was clean. All right, let's get the bolts in. These are one-time use bolts. That's why I had to get new ones. They are aluminum. There is 22 of them. 22. I'm excited, boys. Where is my extension? Oh, where? Oh, where? We'll walk them down first. Which one's he gonna do next? Which one's he gonna do? This one. That's all of them right there. Now I just gotta torque them down. Because if that sets, if that anaerobic sealant sets right now, which it could just a little bit, because the way it works is it sets when there's no air. So theoretically, there's spots right now that don't have air, so it might be starting to set up. I don't know how long it takes to set, but I need to torque these down. I can't just walk away from this, go eat my lunch. I don't know how long it takes. I don't really care, and it's not lunchtime. It's 9:30 p.m. The valve cover bolts are 7 Newton meters plus 90 degrees. So you're gonna have to mark on the bolt and mark on the valve cover and then do 90 degrees. So these down here, the head bolts, the 4 smaller TTY bolts, they have to replace. They are 10 Newton meters and 90 degrees. I'm glad I caught that because I am in foot-pounds and I almost did that. Okay, are they all marked? Yes. Now we do our 90. Torque these down in a star pattern, working from the inside to the outside. You've seen me do it, or you will see me do it wherever I put this clip, but it's important because you don't want to warp the aluminum. Very important you don't go past the 90 degrees. You don't want to break your stud or your bolt or your stud. You don't want to break any of it. Oh, see? Nonchalant, I just go all the way over here. No. You want to do the star on the inside, then maybe wherever you last were, go to the other side, but just like one bolt away, not, you know. So I just did these 4. So I did this one, this one, this one, this one, right? Now I'm going to go over here. I can't go back across the X, right? And well, I have to go here or here. So the way the sequence is for torquing head bolts down, you'd go in a kind of up, down type of thing. You know what I mean. If you're doing this, you know what I mean. But I think I'm actually still kind of following the pattern. You know, I'm just not hopping around randomly. And if you generally follow the rule of star working from the inside out, I don't see why you wouldn't be okay. Alright, so that's that. Valve cover is down. Head is down. Cams are in position. Do they still move? And don't move your cam too much, but yes, it is still free to move. So the next thing I'll be doing tomorrow is putting the turbo on, PCV valve on, all of the accessories. But before I do any of that, I need to replace their O-rings, and I've got all the hardware sitting right over there. So of course I got to do the accessories, but I have to do the timing. So probably do the timing before I do all the accessories.
So you may be able to see it looks a little better in there. Doesn't look any better in these yet. But look at these absolute monster globbers. This is my hand in comparison. Wow. Are you serious? Like seriously, that is ridiculous. That's 2 valves. Just imagine half of that in one. This is 1, 2, 3. 3's a little crusty still. I might have to work on that just a little bit. And 4, a little crusty. But I was scraping pretty good.
and I took compressed air, blew it in there. At the same time, I was vacuuming it out with a little attachment on the vacuum. You can see there, stuck it all the way in there. And I wish it was a little smaller. I'm not really trying to drop anything down in the motor, so I've had paper towel over it for a while, but you know, I really don't want to even think of anything happening, so I'm just going to put the PCV valve on because why not? I've got the new gasket. Put it on there. You can see this is the old one. Doesn't look like it's bad at all. Some people would reuse that, but I'm not some people. For my PCV valve, I went with an L-ring. I'm going to throw that on the car and probably put the intake manifold on after I clean 3 and 4. And that's wrapping things up, guys. I'm gonna put the timing chain on and put it in time, and I'll show you how to do that. So stay tuned. This gasket is ridiculous. Okay, you knew I was gonna say that if you've already been working on one of these before, but it is ridiculous. It just wants to fall out. As soon as you flip the PCV valve over, it just wants to fall out because they didn't make it to where it stayed in when you pushed it into the grooves on the PCV valve, and there's no groove on the valve cover, so you can't put it on the valve cover and then put the PCV valve down on top of it and smush it. So it's in the groove on that side. But the problem I'm having now is to get a pick in there to make sure that it's in the groove going around here and around here to right here. Okay, because I care about your sanity, I want to tell you what I did. Scotch tape. You're like, what? You can't tape that? Oh yeah, you can. You just got to get it out. There's the other piece. So my plan is to just kind of go like that. Nice and slow. My gasket is there, buddy. That's how I did it. It worked first try too. I was really done with fiddling around. I had to come up with something. I thought Scotch tape isn't all that sticky, but probably sticky enough. So, boom. So if I saved you a headache, you definitely have to like the video at this point, because I don't think there's anybody online that came up with that solution. That was all this brain right here. So I'm doing the timing. Now, because I'm an awesome guy and I want you guys to know everything so that you don't have to dig through a million videos like I had to, when I took this chain off the first time, this mark, that wasn't marked by the way, was completely 180 degrees away. Okay, so this mark should be going down. And this mark should be about at the 2-3 o'clock position. All right, and you'll know it's at the right spot because this is weighted. This shaft right here is your balance shaft. This actually has a weight on it which balances your motor, so you don't feel excessive vibration in the car. There's also one here. This is pretty straightforward. Right there is where you time it to. It can't be down here, but it can be up here because it wants to be. So leave it there. It wants to be at about 1 o'clock, not even 12, it wants to be at 1. This one is the important one. I don't know anything more than this because I had to dig for this. This mark on the bottom, pointed straight down, this one at 1 o'clock. This is also weighted, but it just kind of wants to fight you, so you got to feel it out. I actually was about 5 rotations off. And I believe it's 8 to 1, and the whole motor is 4 to 1. So, or at least that's what I'm reading. So just kind of feel it out, rotate it until this is at 1, and you know, it's trying to go back to that spot. See what I mean? So it wants to be right there. That's where you time it up. The mark on the chain will be right here. The mark on the chain will be right here, and the mark on the chain will be about right here. This is top dead center on the crank. The piston number 1, cylinder number 1, is at the top. By the straw method, which I used. Wow, I will never get that back. Okay, well I gotta get a grabber to grab that out and I'll show you. So let me show you in cylinder 1 what that would look like. Boom. It's at top dead center, okay? You notice that 2 was all the way down in there. Well, 4 should also be the same as number 1, so it won't drop all the way down in there. But how I knew was by turning the crank with a breaker bar off of Amazon. Straw would go up, and when I started to go even further in the rotation, it would start to go down. So I would just go back a hair till it was all the way back up. So that's the straw method. Make sure you're at top dead center when you do this, or else your line, or else your mark right here won't be right there, it'll be somewhere else. So now that you've got this little mark at 1 o'clock and this little mark at 6 o'clock, sorry, I don't know how to tell time sometimes. Sometimes. You gotta find your balance shaft chain. I got a new one. It was just old. Like Charles. Yeah, that's right. I'm making fun too, Charles. You really only put the marks on the single dark links. But the way they had it was their bronze mark was right there on Paul's video. So I'm gonna go like this here. Well, first you gotta get it around your crank, but I guess you can do it that way too. Now you put it around here. Should almost line up perfect. There you go. And there you go. So there that is, right there. Everything's looking good so far, so let's continue. There's a mark right here and a mark right here on the valve cover. You see that? That is where you're supposed to time the motor to. That is where you time the main timing chain to. That's where you put the cams in timing. Like I said, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Thank you, Paul, for that. But you lay your chain over it, okay? And make sure it's around your crank at the bottom. Some people have a zip tie method where they hold it down here with the zip tie. I'm not gonna do that because I want the slack so that when I turn this cam and I can hold this up. Me holding this up takes all the slack out right now. So if I have a zip tie around there, it's not gonna do me any good but fight me. This is a timing socket for your cam, or a cam hold tool. It goes in here like this. It's in the kit. I'll put it in the description if you don't have it, but it was just off of Amazon. So I've got it on a breaker bar. I'm gonna have it at a comfortable angle so I can move it a little bit, but you know, it doesn't have, you know, the breaker bar up here. I don't want that, so I just kind of rotated it. And here it is like this. So I'm gonna have to go counterclockwise on this one. So here we go. Lift this up. We rotate the cam. Make sure it's out the way. See, this is why I needed that tension off of there. See, that's not bueno right there. I didn't want that to happen exactly, but it wasn't on there. It slipped a little bit. All good. Just gotta take this side and rotate it like that there. Okay. Okay. Now the problem I'm facing is it's not around the crank, so I'm gonna get it around the crank here. The mark right there. So that's basically where it's got to be. On this sprocket, not this one, on this one. Okay, so that's right. Now there's only slack on this right side, and that would be because it's off by about 1 tooth. So, what I've got to do is follow directions and put a zip tie on it.